Greetings. My name is Thu-Hien. I'm a spiritual teacher, healer, and lecturer. I welcome you today to listen to a lecture about feminine sensitivity. All people would benefit from this lecture if they feel that they're very sensitive beings. During this recording, we talk about making friends when you're a very sensitive person. We also talk about children who are very sensitive. And we talk about being in relationships with people who honor your sensitivity. I welcome you today to sit back, relax, and enjoy a journey with the angelic realms as they take you to a place of higher spiritual wisdom and perspective. To learn more about my work, please visit the website Angelics Carry Light. I hope you have a glorious day. Enjoy.
Greetings. Today is February the 18th, 2011. This is Kimberlyn, and I'll be speaking with Thu-Hien about women's sensitivity. My first question is, I have been in relationships or friendships with women. And when I show my sensitive side and me being the most sensitive, it appears, or I notice that I am sometimes, or I feel that I am sometimes attacked by those women that I think are friends.
Okay. Did you have any more you wanted to add there?
Not right now.
Okay. So what I'm hearing you say is there's a sense of wanting to be yourself, wanting to be authentic, wanting to show your heart and be sensitive around your sisters, your friends, your girlfriends. And when you feel you do that, what you receive in return is a cold shoulder. You receive a rebuffing of your feminine sensitivity to people and a gender you think would welcome it. Is that what I'm hearing?
Correct.
Okay. So the key word that's coming up is hurt, hurt, hurt. That when someone rebuffs another person's true heart, when they're not open to hearing what you have to say when you're speaking from a most vulnerable level, then they have been hurt someplace along the line. There are a few different reasons why they would shut down. There's probably a multitude of reasons, but we'll speak of a few today. One is they're so overwhelmed with their own sensitivity and their own hurt that it's very difficult for them to open their mind and their heart to another person's vulnerability. Two, they've been taught in their family that they need to show a tough exterior, and that vulnerability is a bad thing to have, that it's not good to be too sensitive. It's not good to be revealing things that are closest to your heart. So in their family dynamic, their sensitivity was shut down. So they're not even connected to it anymore, to be able to connect to another person's sensitivity. And maybe a third reason is there's been some hurt with them that they don't want intimacy with another woman, that in their past, when they had an intimate relationship with a woman, maybe there was some type of relationship that ended in a great deal of pain, so they are not wanting to get intimate with someone else. So all of those speak of hurt and disconnecting from their own soul. You wanting to show your vulnerability, show your heart, be who you are, is a very, very good thing. It's what you call not wearing the mask, not wearing the social bravado, not putting the window dressing on the curtains so no one can look inside. You are wanting to come from a place of authenticity. And what's going to be important for you to understand is like will attract like. The more you are true to who you are, if those are the type of relationships that you deem worthy of being a part of, those that have intimacy, then continue being who you are, and you will start attracting more people to you like that, more companions, more girlfriends who are thinking like-minded like you, who have their heart in the same place as you. But if you choose to shut down, which you've done because you have felt this pain in trying to relate to other women and it's not working for you, so there's a part of you that shuts down and shows this, shows a hard heart, that shows a, this brave front that everything is fine and I'm a very strong woman. And when I say you, I mean people who are coming from the same issue that you have. Generally, they shut down and they just try not to show any emotion anymore. And then the law of attraction will bring them other people who are the same way. They're shutting down. They've shut down. They're not trying to show any emotion either. So the key understanding here is to be yourself, to continue being yourself, even in the face of adversity. The most important thing you can do is be true to yourself, and that is listen to your heart. When your heart feels like it wants to speak to someone, then maybe your heart is saying, yes, that person is, quote, safe to speak to. And we must practice that effort. And it is an effort once your heart has been hurt in trying to make that bridge to other people, that bridge of camaraderie, that bridge of closeness, that bridge of friendship. Once your heart has been hurt, it's hard to make friends. It can be. So we have to practice still making friends. So in the face of adversity, we still extend ourselves, but we start using our intuition in who we feel would be safe to extend ourselves to. So we don't extend ourselves to everybody. We extend ourselves to those people that we see that kind of glow to us. That glow is kind of your soul saying, that person right there, they feel good. They feel good to my soul. And I think that person may be a good friend for me. Let me test this out. And that's the practice. And if that person isn't receptive to you, then you move on to another person. But your, quote, friend antenna will start to grow sharper. The signal will get sharper. When you practice it more, you'll know who's willing to be your friend and who's not willing to be your friend. And you would want to live in a world, this is the reality you want to create, where when you extend your friendship to someone, they recognize that and they would want to extend it back because they see that you have chosen them to be a friend and they honor that. And that you and them, start this bond where you can be vulnerable with each other. Living in a world where no one shows vulnerability is a very artificial world, as we said in another teaching. That when people relate to each other without their heart, it is a very empty, empty experience that nobody gains anything from. So this world of hardened heart leaves a lot of lonely people. And a lot of people know a lot of people. They have a lot of associates. But a lot of people have closed their hearts so much that it's become very difficult for them to have true friendships, because true friendships take open hearts. They take two people sharing what is dearest to their heart, sharing their fears, sharing their upsets, sharing the blessings in their lives, sharing their deepest, deepest thoughts. And if you don't have an open heart, you can't even get there with anyone. And everyone on the planet, no matter who they are, wants close friends. And if they say they don't want a close friend, there is something in their heart that has completely disconnected from their soul.
That was beautiful. And I digested a lot of what you said, and will continue to practice what you said. I know that over years I have extended myself and had to retract, because when I extend myself, those I chose to be my friends, for whatever reasons, they did not always. They extended themselves as well to some degree, but then something would happen whereby they turned out not to be as genuine as I thought. So, but I will continue to practice extending myself, and to other females especially, and building that circle, that close circle of friends.
Okay. Let's add this as well. You just hit on something very, very key, and that is intending on building a circle of friends. Most people don't intend to build a close circle of exceptional people. And the only way you're going to have a close circle of exceptional people is if you make that an intention. And many times in our lives, when things are not working out the way we would like, we continue in this pattern of this just is the way my life is. I just don't really have friends. Instead of doing it a different way. And that is, whatever's not working out in your life, intending for the opposite. So you're setting down the spiritual framework you need right now for intending an exceptional circle of people around you who are your friends and your support group, who are your hand-selected family. So when we intend to create a superhero team, then they will start to come in one by one. And they will be a superhero team that basically they're your support group. So one person is going to pick up where you may not have your greatest strengths. Maybe this person is a technical wizard. And then you have another person over here who trickles into your super team, and they are just a master of diplomacy. And then you have another person who trickles into your super team, and they love beauty. They can tell you all about fashion and all about international designers and all of this great stuff. And then you have another friend over here who's very frugal, and they could tell you about where to buy all the cheapest things for the highest quality. So when you're building your support team, you can even go deeper in your intention, as in you want some particular personality types that will round out who you are, that will help you become a well-rounded person. And that's generally how our lives work. We will start to attract people who kind of, help us with our shortcomings. And that's really how life is supposed to work. We are not meant to live alone in a bubble. We're not meant to do everything ourselves. It's together we win. Separate, we don't go anywhere. So you need your tribe, and it's wonderful when you intend to select your tribe. Now, there will be people who come into your life, and you're like, wow, I wasn't expecting that at all, and this is really wonderful. And you definitely want to leave the element of surprise. You want to leave those X factors in there. But when you know you have some super heavy-duty needs, like you really wish you had someone who maybe liked to go out a lot, you want someone who has a great social circle. So that's one of your maybe super heavy-duty needs. Then intend a friend like that to come into your life. Because we create our realities with our intentions. And even when we don't think we have intentions, when we don't think we've set any intentions, we're always setting intentions. It's just some are subconsciously set and some are consciously set. So those subconsciously set intentions generally rule our day. And when you make them conscious, you consciously create your life. And the other part I wanted to add to that is friendship. Friendships are the real deep beauty of life. And people who are extremely sensitive, it's really important that they build a network of other sensitive people around them as well. Because your sensitivity will go over the head of the major population. Because most people are living on autopilot and are not connected to their soul. When you're connected to your soul, you are generally a more sensitive person because you're registering everything that's going on around you. When you're not connected to your soul, you're on autopilot and you're just kind of living your life on this superficial level. You're gliding on the surface of life. And that gliding on the surface of life doesn't allow you to dig in deep and smell the roses. They just allow you to vaguely see the roses as you're whizzing by. Someone who's deeply connected to their soul will get a hint of that rose smell and say, oh, whoa, stop, what was that? And they will have to pause. They don't have a choice. Their soul is saying, stop and smell the roses. So those of you who are sensitive souls, you must have a nurturing community around you, or else your sensitivity will be battered by the rest of the world. So this sensitivity that you carry is just a trademark of being deeply connected to your spirit. Now, all of your friends don't need to be super sensitive, but you definitely need them in your inner circle. And we need a balance. So you can have those other people who are not as sensitive, but in their less sensitivity, it's going to be very important that they're not completely insensitive. So see your sensitivity as a trademark of your spirit and your connection to spirit and your connection to your heart and your connection to your femininity. Sensitivity can be two things. One, it can be a deep reverence for the heart space, in that you value emotions in yourself and others. Or it can be an inflamed emotional body, which is spiritual talk. We have a lot of different bodies. We have the mental body, emotional body, physical body, the spiritual body. But when the emotional body is inflamed, it means it's like, it's sore because it's been so wounded. And that's going to create a lot of sensitivity as well. So it's basically like being sensitive because you have a wound, and when you touch it, it feels raw, and that's the inflamed emotional body. So that sensitivity is not a natural sensitivity. It's a sensitivity because something is still hurting in you, or a lot of somethings are still hurting in you. And then the other sensitivity is a natural sensitivity. It's your feminine sensitivity that says, my instinct is kind of telling me that this isn't right. Now, that's a natural sensitivity. That's your protection. That's your guidance system of where you should be going in life. That's your navigator. That's your spiritual guide speaking with you. That's your guardian angels trying to communicate with you. And the supersensitivity that comes from pain and injury, emotional injury, is something that definitely needs to be dealt with, because it can completely run your life, in which if someone says something to you and they may have said it in the wrong tone, it can really hurt your feelings. That is truly okay, because that happens at times. But when every day of your life is almost havoc because of the way people do things or say things, then your sensitivity is on hypersensitivity. And that is due to an inflamed emotional body that needs attention. And we're not talking just psychological attention. We're talking emotion. We're talking energetic attention, like you need to go to a spiritual healer and actually have them go in and soothe the energy field and repair the energy field. That work is a lot quicker than going through your standard process of whatever type of traditional help people generally seek. In addition, when people start doing medications, a lot of times that's because they're trying to soothe an inflamed emotional body, and soothe it or numb it, one of the two. And generally the medications numb it to where the injury is there and the injury is constantly being hit, but it's so numb that you can't feel it's being hit, so the injury is getting even worse because there's no signal to your body, this is a sore. It just becomes this battered wound because it's numb and you're not registering pain anymore, so it keeps getting hit and it keeps getting worse. So the medications are not, advantageous to the healing process. Numbing off that inflamed emotional body does not help. You need to go in with spiritual healing work and really rectify the root problem. And the root problem does not necessarily have to stem in this lifetime. It could be from way back another lifetime. It could stem actually from even another dimension. We exist in many, many dimensions. Earth is just one reality. So those are just a few possibilities. But having someone who can really go in deeply and do the deep healing work is what's necessary. The last thing I'd like to say here is that when someone is extremely sensitive, a lot of times their soul does not feel comfortable here in the earth body as well. This is like a third level of sensitivity. First, we spoke about the inflamed emotional body and the injury, and that caused one sensitivity. Then we talked about the feminine sensitivity where you're like, oh, this doesn't feel right, and that's natural sensitivity. Now we're going to talk about a spiritual sensitivity. And that is a little bit more complex for the average person to comprehend, but I'm going to do it as I can right here. And that is, there are very evolved souls that are coming to the earth right now. And we can call them light workers, we can call them indigos, we can call them crystal children, we can call them rainbow children. These are all the different types of names that they've been given. These souls that are coming in, they don't feel like they belong here on the planet. They feel like they're very misunderstood, and that they're just completely different from everyone else. And the answer to both of those feelings is yes. They are misunderstood, and yes, they're very different from everyone else. Their actual pattern of who they are is very different. They vibrate at a different frequency. And generally the frequencies that they vibrate at are so high and so pure that their sensitivities are much greater than the rest of the population. So this is not a feminine sensitivity. This is more of like an evolved spiritual being sensitivity. So it can be in a male body or a female body. It really doesn't matter. It can be in an older person or a younger person. Now, the more advanced the society becomes, the more of these type of spiritual people, highly evolved spiritual people are going to be coming to the planet. Before the highly evolved spiritual people were coming into the planet, they were trickling in. And when they were trickling in, there wasn't very many of them coming in because the vibration of the earth was not high enough. Now they're coming in massive numbers, but they're still trickling in. So the whole point is, the major population is not of this ilk. The major population is not as spiritually as advanced as these new souls who are coming in greater numbers. And these new souls, they have very specific diets. Wheat doesn't do very well for them. Gluten doesn't do very well for them. Sugar doesn't do very well for them because their digestive systems are very sensitive. When they hear loud sounds, that can be very nerve-wracking to them because their hearing is very sensitive. So this sensitivity, and a lot of the children right now are some of these more advanced souls because the planet is becoming a whole different place to be. It's becoming a place of high vibration. So the children that are coming in, most of them are very advanced souls, and they come with these sensitivities. And it's really important for the parents who have these children to recognize when you have a very sensitive child and to not see this as a problem, but to see this as a blessing that this child's soul is very evolved and they are registering everything around them. So children like that need a lot of energetic protection, and that comes with wearing special energy pieces that they could carry in their pockets or something like that. That comes with having parents who are aware of who they are. But that's just a third sensitivity that's important to talk about. And these people that have this spiritual sensitivity are generally the people who have come here to help the planet. They come with a sense of peace in their heart, with a big amount of love in their heart, and this sensitivity to other people's hearts. They're very empathic. So this sensitivity is what is part of their soul path, part of their purpose here on earth. Because without their sensitivity, they wouldn't even care. And that's what sensitivity does. It helps us to care. It helps us to give a darn. And when you live in a world that doesn't give a darn, then really nobody wants to live in a world like that. So these these higher evolved spiritual souls that are coming here, which means they've had a lot of different incarnations on the earth, so they're more evolved. They're sensitive, and that sensitivity needs to be honored by themselves, by the friends they select. So that's just an important addition.
Thank you. That was very, very educational, and I got a lot out of that.
I just want to add one more thing, and that is I just really want to accentuate this point that when people have a deep desire to help other people, or when people have a deep desire to help the earth, or they have a deep desire to help animals, they are generally called light workers, or they are the young children that we call indigos, and the other category names I gave earlier. So these people who have come here to help us have a better world, they are ultra sensitive because they need to be in tune with their soul, because their soul is giving them the guidance. Start this nonprofit organization. Go talk to this person. We need to raise money for this person. Africa is going to need some assistance here. I need to start learning an African language or anything of that sort. They need to be in tune with their soul impulses, with their intuition, with however their soul is guiding them. And again, we spoke earlier about in order to be soul directed, in order for your spirit guides to speak with you, and you to hear those impulses coming through on the direction you need to go to, you need to be sensitive. And the more sensitive you are and the more you follow that sensitivity, then the greater your success will be here on the planet. Because when you're not following your sensitivity, then you're completely, generally, out of alignment with your true path that your life is really supposed to be on, that brings you joy and brings you peace. So the ultra-sensitive souls generally have bigger missions here on the planet. Or they could even have a big mission in their own community, as in they're the heart of the community. They're the ones that people go to when they seek true assistance. So just really be aware that ultra-sensitivity is for a reason. And usually the reason is divine. What was new for you in listening to it?
Being connected to my soul and my heart is what that means when one is sensitive, and that was new, and I like hearing that.
Okay. And you were talking outside of this interview about your husband and your ex-husband, and just feeling that your sensitivity was not honored. Is there anything you want to mention about that?
No, other than part of everything going on, was due to him not being connected, and he shutting himself out. So therefore, he couldn't feel anything, and he did not know how to express himself to someone that is sensitive, and he did not honor or have any regards or understanding to anyone to me, who was sensitive. So that also, and also it helps me to communicate in the future with any other men that I may seek that I think is sensitive, but maybe not know how to display or understand their level of sensitivity. I think that's important because sometimes we do not understand our level of sensitivity. We know that we are, or men do not know how to. They know that they are, but they sort of shy away from displaying it and showing it because of being hurt.
Those are some excellent observations. And many women have to endure insensitivity from their mate when they haven't learned the value of their own sensitivity. And sometimes it has taken, it could take 20 years for a woman to leave a relationship that her sensitivities have been completely dishonored. And she's endured that type of, really it's abuse. And there may not be physical abuse there, but it's mental abuse when your sensitivity is not honored. Because your sensitivity is like what we were speaking about earlier, your emotional body. And the emotional body is just as real as the physical body. So when the emotional body gets battered by this disregard, this disrespect, then it causes real trauma, causes real psychological, emotional trauma in the body that a lot of times goes unattended to because it's not a physical wound. Many times women think that something has to be a physical wound in order for it to be, people think that a physical wound can be attended to, but an emotional, psychological wound, people suffer in silence with those. And the injury could have happened, 5 years ago, but the suffering is still there and it's still almost present like today because the wound was never attended to. So recognizing, really learning about the nature of sensitivity and recognizing that that was a form of abuse when you are dishonored, disrespected, and dealing with someone who's disconnected. That is very injurious to a woman who is keenly sensitive. And in order for her to get out of that pattern of being injured, she has to honor her sensitivity, and through the honoring of her sensitivity, she's going to know that it's paramount to have sensitive souls in her life, especially choosing the next mate who is sensitive to her needs, sensitive to her heart, sensitive to the things that she says she wants, she desires, she needs, sensitive when she tells him, this is what I'd like to talk to you about. And he is sensitive and courteous enough to sit down and say, yes, baby, let's talk. What's going on with you? What's going on with your heart? What's going on with your mind? A man that has some balanced male-female qualities in there where he can just sit with you and open his heart up and open his mind up to you and just want to hear you, want to feel what you're feeling, and want to assist you through those feelings because he knows in the long run that you're going to be there assisting him through all of this as well. That's what a team does. One person doesn't come with the heart and one person doesn't, one person doesn't just come with the heart and the other person doesn't have a heart. That's not a team. Teamship, partnership, all that, companionship requires two people having a heart.
Thank you. Thank you.
You are most welcome, and I hope that you are blessed many times over in your next relationship with someone who honors the beauty of your sensitivity.
Thank you.
So let's just take a few deep breaths. And to all of the sensitive souls out there who are listening to this recording, you are honored. You are honored, you are honored, you are honored by the supreme source, which is God or Goddess or the Creator, whatever you want to call that God force energy. And your sensitivity is the most beloved part of you. So keep it. We are complete. Amen, amen, amen.